During Trump's first term, he was not interested in virtual currencies. However, after re-election, he stated that he would set up a special agency to improve the management of virtual currencies and create a good development environment. His statement also caused a wave of increases in virtual currencies such as Bitcoin. In fact, everyone knows that Musk is the biggest contributor to Trump's victory. He is one of the main promoters of Dogecoin. Trump's statement of support for virtual currencies should be in line with his interests. Speaking of Dogecoin, this was originally a spoof currency. Due to Musk's strong support, it suddenly attracted a large number of participants and became one of the main cryptocurrencies. Since Musk is willing to endorse Dogecoin, he must have held a large amount of this worthless currency in advance and then used his public influence to push up the currency value, thereby obtaining huge profits. The virtual currency itself is very secretive, and no one can know how much profit Musk has made. So in this video, let's briefly talk about the meaning of virtual currency and use the simplest language possible to explain why it makes countless people rich. But when you invest, you suffer heavy losses or even lose all your money. First of all, the essence of currency is a general equivalent, which is used as a ruler to measure the value of goods and as a certificate for circulation and storage. For example, there is a tribe. A needs to buy a goat. He wants to exchange chickens with C. But C does not need chickens. He wants to exchange for a pig. At this time, B appears. He has pigs at home, and he wants to exchange them for chickens. So A uses chickens to exchange a pig from B, and then uses the pig to exchange the goat he wants with C. But there is a problem: how to find B. If B with intermediate demand cannot be found, A and C cannot complete the exchange. Then, the chieftain said that everyone can exchange their goods for shells in the future, because only the members in the chieftain's family know how to get shells in the tribe. So shells are a scarce commodity in the tribe. In addition, the sons of the chieftain's family are all fat and strong. This rule is set, and no one can violate it, otherwise they will be beaten. So, shells became the currency of this tribe. In other words, as a currency, shells must have the following most important characteristics. 1. Universal acceptance. This requires strong support. The strong sons of the chieftain are the means of guaranteeing that shells become the currency of the tribe. 2. Divisibility and portability. Shells are independent individuals and are much more portable than commodities such as chickens, pigs, and sheep, making them very convenient for trading. 3. Homogeneity and durability. It is easy to find shells of similar size. Compared with animals, fruits, and vegetables, they will not deteriorate. They can be stored for a few years without any problems. If they are damaged, you can ask the chieftain to exchange them for new ones. 4. Identifiability and stability. Shells are highly recognizable. The chieftain's family can always provide shells. Moreover, the chieftain's sons are young and strong. They each have many sons who are particularly good at fighting. In the foreseeable future, the right to issue currency will be stable in his family. In fact, is it the same to exchange shells for currencies of various countries, such as the US dollar? The US dollar can only be issued by the Federal Reserve. It is based on the strong economic and military strength of the United States and the credibility of the US government to ensure that it is the world currency. The RMB can only be issued by the People's Bank of China. It is based on the credibility of China's national power and circulates in the market. Individuals or organizations that dare to counterfeit US dollars or RMB will face ruthless attacks from the US government and the Chinese government. This is the same as the chieftain's sons intimidating tribal members. There may be other people in the tribe who know how to get shells and occasionally dare to counterfeit a few. But after being discovered, they will be beaten by the chieftain's sons. All assets confiscated, driven out of the tribe, or directly executed. Most people dare not take this risk. Of course, I just briefly discussed the principles of currency. These are the teaching contents of Chinese high school political courses. I am a science student, so what I said may not be accurate, but this is roughly the meaning. Then the interesting part comes. Where can virtual currency replace traditional currency, and where can it not replace it? 1. Universal acceptance. There is no national power to guarantee the circulation of virtual currency. It depends entirely on the issuing agency and community propaganda. You can never force the other party to accept it. This is the most essential difference between it and traditional currency. Traditional currency, even Zimbabwe's currency, as long as it still has the status of legal tender, domestic merchants must accept it, no matter how much it depreciates. North Korean currency is basically abolished once it leaves North Korea. But in North Korea, you must accept its circulation. This alone determines that virtual currency can never replace traditional currency. No matter how valuable Bitcoin is, merchants can refuse to sell goods to holders. 2. Divisibility and portability. In the digital age, virtual currency naturally has such characteristics. You can pay 0.01 Bitcoin to complete the transaction without any problems. Some major virtual currencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT have a relatively large market size. Although they cannot be compared with the US dollar, the euro, and the RMB, they are still easier to circulate than the currencies of countries such as North Korea and Zimbabwe. For example, if Putin were to choose, Russia would definitely be willing to accept Bitcoin instead of Indian rupees to pay for oil and gas. 3. Homogeneity and durability. Virtual currency has no problem, just pass it by. 4. Identifiability and stability. There is no essential difference between virtual currency and traditional currency. It is easy to identify through digital means, and there is almost no possibility of counterfeiting. As for stability, there are often various hypes in the virtual currency market, and it is indeed not as stable as traditional currency. For example, heavyweight players like Musk can instantly raise the value of Dogecoin. The most stable virtual currency, Bitcoin, has a rising value overall, but it is highly volatile, and the process of fluctuations may cause players who participate in speculation to go bankrupt in an instant. The essence of virtual currency is more like the stock market of a small country. We assume that the Somali government has opened a stock exchange and allowed foreign investment. Although Somalia's national reputation is not high, as long as it is profitable, there will always be capital to speculate. Since it is speculation, then naturally some people will make money. This is not necessarily a deliberate arrangement. Some people will really make a lot of money because they entered the market early. Then the Somali government will vigorously publicize these cases in order to attract more funds. Reporters from all over the world went to investigate and found that ordinary people really made money by investing in the Somali stock market. So many people believed it. They rushed into the Somali stock market crazily. But then, the Somali government and financial tycoons began to reap the harvest. They colluded with each other and caused a sharp fluctuation in the stock market. After a few rounds, foreign investors and small institutions involved in the investment will be killed and lose all their money. But there are always people who follow the right rhythm, and they still make money. Such stories will continue to be vigorously promoted to attract more people to enter the Somali stock market. And the Somali government will claim that those who lose money have failed investment strategies, not that the Somali stock market itself is a scam. So you see a strange phenomenon. The Somali stock market has created countless wealth myths, but your investment has lost all your money. The house is sold, your wife divorces you. Even your child is awarded to your ex-wife, and she also finds a stepfather for your child. Some people will say that virtual currency is decentralized. How can it be manipulated? People who say these things are basically mentally retarded, and they need to go to the hospital to check whether their brains are normal. It is true that decentralization is the design concept of virtual currency. But all virtual currencies, including Bitcoin, are controlled by a few institutions or manipulated. Bitcoin is concentrated in the hands of a few large institutions, not to mention the fictitious founder Satoshi Nakamoto. No one can know how many Bitcoins the interest groups he represents hold. This is a black box in itself, but there are fools who believe that it is open and transparent. If such people don't lose money, what kind of people lose money? Yes, you have seen countless people who have become rich by holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. But what you have not seen is that more people have lost their families because of them. This is what survivor bias means. 10 years ago, you bought Bitcoin and held it all the time. 10 years later, you became rich. Doesn't this explain the value of Bitcoin? No. If you bought Nvidia's stock 10 years ago, you can also become rich now. This does not stand for anything. Something is getting more and more expensive does not mean that it will always be expensive. Even the US dollar has times to go down. Just like diamonds, it is monopolized by a few institutions. You can spend $10,000 to buy one for your girlfriend, but if you are short of money, you are naive to want to exchange it for even $5,000. There are scams that have existed in the world for a long time but have never been exposed, not just diamonds. Speaking of diamonds, we must talk about the hard flaw of virtual currency, value. Virtual currency mainly relies on anchoring computing power and is obtained through mining. Mining itself does not create any wealth in addition to consuming a lot of electricity and hardware resources. Some people say that there are only 21 million Bitcoins, and they will become more scarce as time goes by. This is simply bullshit. My farts are also a scarce resource. I will not fart 21 million times in my life. Is my fart more valuable than Bitcoin? Whether it is Bitcoin or Ethereum, their so-called value is obtained by hyping concepts and does not correspond to any wealth. This is fundamentally different from traditional currencies guaranteed by national power. Whatever, the RMB represents the labor of the Chinese people and is the only ruler. No matter how overissued the US dollar is, it relies on the credibility of the US government and represents the wealth of the United States. What does Bitcoin represent? Is it precious because it is scarce? There are many scarce and unreplicable things in the world. Everyone's feces are unreplicable. Are they also valuable? Do you think you are an Indian cow and cow dung can be counted as GDP? In fact, no matter what private transactions Trump and Musk have, or what they want to hype, it is not something that we ordinary people should care about. Blinken once said that you are either at the table or on the menu. We ordinary people should not think that we are players just because we occasionally follow the right rhythm. In front of the real players, we just need to enter the market, and we will always be the dishes on the menu. Are you qualified to sit at the same table with Musk?